So we go for it one last time in Formula One for this season. It's the season finale in Abu Dhabi. Now, the practice sessions are done with for this particular season. The last qualifying session for this season is also completed as we build up to today, the final race of what has been a very exciting, a very testing 2020 Formula One season. Now, let's quickly recap what exactly happened in the qualifying session, and it was a session to remember, especially for Red Bull, who grabbed their first pole position of this season. In fact, it is the first non Mercedes car to have won a pole position this particular season. Hamilton in his Mercedes got 10 pole positions earlier in the season. Valtteri Bottas has 5 pole positions. Lance Stroll in the Racing Point, which is also a Mercedes Works car, got a pole position in Turkey. So Max Verstappen getting this particular pole position is the first non-Mercedes car to achieve a pole position in any of the races thus far this season. Now, if you watch the qualifying session, it was a really exciting one at that, because the final run in Q3 saw first Lewis Hamilton jump to pole position, then Valtteri Bottas took pole position, and in the dying seconds Max Verstappen came and snatched away pole position from both of them. The top 3 are covered within a tenth of a second. That's how close it was. So great position for today. Max Verstappen up in P1. A brilliant achievement from him, and he will be looking to build on this and win his second race of this season. Valtteri Bottas in P2. He has outqualified Lewis Hamilton, who will start in P3. Hamilton coming into this weekend after missing last weekend's Sakir Grand Prix, where he tested positive for COVID-19, but has now recovered and is in his car for the final race of this season. Further down the grid, Lando Norris. Now, this man has achieved P4. This is his career best qualifying finish. He achieved the same in Austria way back when the season started. Now he's equaled that performance again by going into P4. Now, a side note about the rest of the grid, because now the rest of the grid has a big implication on the Constructors' Championship. Now, coming into this weekend, P3 goes to Racing Point in the Constructors' standings, who lead McLaren by a meager 10 points. Now, further down, McLaren lead Renault by just 12 points. So it is really close between the 3, just covered within 25 points, all these 3 teams, and they are fighting for P3 in the constructor standings. Now, advantage in this particular race will be with the McLaren side, as Lando Norris qualified P4, Carlos Sainz qualified P5, so both P6 rather. So both their cars are there in the top 10, and they will be looking to close that gap to Racing Point and potentially even overtake them in the constructor standings. Apart from that, Alexander Albon in P5, he splits the 2 McLarens. If he does not do that well in the coming race, I don't see him keeping his seat unless there is an outside influence to that decision. But that's a topic for another day. Both the Alpha Tauris made it to Q3, with Daniel Kvyat finishing in P7 and Pierre Gasly finishing in P10. Now, most important of this qualifying session was that both the Renaults did not manage to get themselves into Q3. Daniel Ricciardo and Esteban Ocon will be starting 11th and 12th. Ocon, in fact, will be 11th and Ricciardo will be 12th. As far as the racing points go, only Lance Stroll managed to get into the top 10, and Sergio Perez did not actually put in a lap time in Q2 because he already has a penalty which takes him towards the back of the grid because of an engine change. So, advantage to McLaren. Racing Point are on the back foot. They have one car in the top 10. Let's see whether he can have a very good start and potentially challenge the McLarens. Otherwise, McLaren do seem to have this in the bag and potentially can claim P3 in the constructor standings tomorrow. Renault are the wild card. They are on the back foot. They will have a free choice of tires, but I don't know how much they will be able to achieve. A special mention to a few drivers who are driving potentially their last race in Formula One. Daniel Kvyat of AlphaTauri does not have a contract post the season. Kevin Magnussen has been confirmed to leave Haas at the end of today's race rather. Sebastian Vettel, he's not out of Formula One for next season, but he will be racing with a different car. It is his last race for a Ferrari constructor. He will now be racing for Racing Point starting next season, which incidentally becomes Aston Martin, of which Seb is the brand ambassador of. Otherwise, we'll get into these permutations after the season is done. But for now, let's concentrate on the race, which happens today. It's the final race of the season. Let's all go out and watch this one last time before we go off for the end of the season.